Case 1. The Grays. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction, 1961. September 19. A married couple driving home from Niagara Falls. Betty and Barney Hill noticed a bright light following their car through the White Mountains. Then missing time. 2 hours they couldn't account for. When they arrived home, their watches had stopped. Betty's dress was torn in a strange pattern. Barney's shoes were inexplicably scuffed at the toes. Under hypnosis, they both independently described the same beings. 3 to 4 feet tall, smooth gray skin, enormous black eyes shaped like almonds, and a clinical silence that was somehow worse than any scream. The Greys are the most reported extraterrestrial form in human history. Their agenda, according to thousands of abductees, appears to be biological, taking samples, studying our nervous system, cataloging human emotion like scientists who've never felt any. What makes the Hill case impossible to dismiss is the consistency. Betty and Barney were hypnosed separately by different doctors on different days. The details they recall were identical. The star map Betty sketched under hypnosis was later matched by astronomer Marjorie Fish to the Zeta Reticuli system, a binary star system we didn't even know existed at the time. Case 2. The Reptilians. The Crero Mutwa account, 1959. A Zulu shaman named Crero Mutwa claims he was abducted by beings he called the Shitari, the children of the serpent, a name embedded in Zulu oral tradition for thousands of years before Western UFO culture existed. He described them as tall, reptilian with cold vertical pupils and scales that shifted color under light. He said they weren't visiting. He said they live here, underground, in the spaces between power and visibility. What separates Mutwa account from a typical abduction story is its age. This isn't a Cold War anxiety dream or a product of science fiction. This is a tradition passed through Zulu oral lineage for generations. Before Roswell, before Hollywood, before any Western template existed for what an alien was supposed to look like, Mutwa had every cultural reason to stay silent. He came forward anyway. The reptilian narrative is the most polarizing in ufology precisely because it doesn't stay in the sky. It lands in boardrooms, in parliaments, in ancient temple carving across Sumeria, Egypt, and Mesoamerica. Every culture separated by oceans and centuries drew the same serpent rulers in positions of authority over humans. Coincidence, archetype, or a pattern too consistent to be accidental? Case 3. The Nordics. The George Adamski meeting, 1952. November. George Adamski is driving with 6 witnesses when a spacecraft descends into the Mojave. A figure walks toward him, tall, blondie, almost impossibly calm. He has no weapons. He communicates partly through telepathy, partly through hand gestures. He tells Adamski his name is Orton. He's from Venus, and he's concerned not about invasion, not about resources. He's concerned about our nuclear tests. He tells Adamski the detonations are disrupting something far beyond our atmosphere, and that several races are watching with growing alarm. The Nordics appear across dozens of early contact cases, always described the same way: physically perfect, spiritually advanced, and deeply worried about what humanity is doing to itself. They don't intervene directly. They warn, they suggest, they leave. They've never once claimed they could stop us, only that we should stop ourselves. 6 witnesses signed affidavits confirming the craft and the figure. None ever recanted, none ever made money from it. Case 4. The Anunnaki. The Sumerian tablets, 4500 BC. This one doesn't start with a witness, it starts with clay. In the ruins of ancient Mesopotamia, archaeologists unearthed thousands of cuneiform tablets describing beings called the Anunnaki, those who from heaven came to earth. They weren't worshipped as abstract gods. They were described with specificity: their heights, their clothing, their political disagreements, their mining operations. Zechariah Sitchin spent decades translating these texts. His conclusion: the Anunnaki came from a planet called Nibiru, engineered Homo sapien as a labor force by splicing their DNA with early hominids, and jump-started human civilization to make us more useful. The uncomfortable part isn't the theory, it's the timeline. Modern humans emerged with a cognitive complexity that has no clear evolutionary precedent. The gap between Homo heidelbergensis and Homo sapiens happened faster than natural selection has ever moved anywhere for anything. Someone accelerated the process. The Sumerians said they knew exactly who, and if they're right, everything we call civilization, language, agriculture, architecture wasn't discovered, it was installed.